Hi, welcome back. So, in today's video, we're going to be doing yet another video essay on my channel. And this time I'm going to be talking about femininity. I hope I said that right. I'm going to be talking about my personal experience with femininity and my love-hate relationship with it growing up, and then now my reaffirming, I don't know if I would say love for it, but just more acceptance of being feminine. Growing up, when I would say from the ages of like fresh out the womb to like I would say high school, I was pretty just femininity wasn't really a concept in my brain, in the sense of no one told me that I had to act this way because, oh, this is what you can't do that because girls don't do that, or like only boys get to do that. Like I wasn't told that as a child, which I think is a good thing because I was able to just grow up just being a kid. Like if I wanted to play sports, I could play a sport. If I wanted to play dolls, I could play with dolls. And then I would say it wasn't until high school that I felt the need to actually become feminine and to actually act like a lady, act like a woman, or whatever the case, whatever the phrases are. I felt like it wasn't until high school where I really had to, okay, now I have to start acting like I'm a woman. And it was at first very jarring for me because I went from literally never having anyone tell me that, oh, I had to be this way because I'm a girl. Now, mind you, growing up, from like when I was like a baby, a lot of people, whenever like my mom would like push me in the stroller, a lot of people would always tell her, oh my gosh, your son's so cute. And she would be like, thanks, she is cute. Or like I was told stories of how like I would always wear a bunch of pink, and like I had my ears pierced since I was like 6 months old, and I don't really wear earrings that much. Like I don't wear them. I only wear them really on Sundays or like when I'm like going out, in a sense of like it's a fancy outing, or like when I feel the need to dress up more, then I'll put earrings on. But I had my earrings pierced since I was like 6 months old. So I had earrings, and then I wore pink a lot, and to help people see that I was a girl. But still, people were like, oh my gosh, your son's so cute. So I think that's funny. I think like I'm not offended by that at all. Obviously, I was 6 months old. How would I be offended by that, you know? But anyway, growing up, had the traits of a stereotypical, like more masculine than like feminine, because I was into sports and people thought I was a boy growing up. The way how I dressed, and also just my character traits, I guess. I was growing up to look like more like I was a tomboy growing up, basically. And I've had comments said about me about like because of my attire. Don't want to say that. It was very interesting because as a child, someone would talk about somebody else, and then would say, oh, you and Ananda are kind of like this. And I'm like, what do I have to do with this situation? Like then in high school, that's when I started getting that treatment of, oh, you can't do that because only boys do that. Oh, you can't do that because you have to do this because this is what girls do. And I didn't like it because it was a combination of the way how it was told to me, and also the way how I saw like girls growing up. Because in the middle school, when you're playing in gym, I always saw women as, because of society, the way how society talked about women, but also how I saw like my friends like in middle school as like weak people. Like women and girls are like weak and fragile, and oh, help, like they need a Prince Charming 24/7, can't do nothing on their own, can't be aggressive in the sense of setting up for themselves, or just simply just being aggressive in a sport. Like I was growing up, I became very competitive. There's a lot of reasons why I was competitive as a child, so we're not gonna get into that. I was a competitive I was a competitive athlete growing up, and I remember a lot of times in middle school where we would have like, we'll play a sport and it would be, okay, boys versus girls, like teams. And I would always hate that because I'm like, oh my gosh, like please, can we make these teams co-ed? Because I'm sick and tired of being on the losing team. Because every time when it was boys against girls, there will be like three, like let's say there's 20 girls, 20 boys. There will be like 3 girls, including me, that would actually play the sport, and the other girls would be like, let's say we're playing soccer. We'll be actually, me and my two other girls that are like my friends will actually play the sport, and the other girls would be like, oh, I don't want to play, or oh, oops, like I don't know how to play, or oh, this is too hard, like and I'm like, Can y'all like just play the sport? Like, please, we are losing. We're getting swept away, and then y'all wonder why the girl like they say, oh, boys rule, girls drew. Like, oh no, it's girls rule, boys drew, whatever. But like when it came to sports, the girls team always lost because no girls would actually play the sport, and I was sick and tired of that. I was so annoyed. Can you see? Can you feel the anger? I remember hating when we had to play boys versus girls. So every time when they was like, okay, we're gonna just do co-ed, I'm like, thank God, now we have a chance. And then if it was boys against girls, they'd be like, oh, the boys can't be too rough on the girls because it's like, oh, you're being too rough. Like, I saw girls as such weak people, and it made me despise women. Not in the sense of like I hate women like men do. Not all men, but a lot of men. I had a visual example of how weak women portray themselves as, and I didn't like that. I was like, why are we acting like this? We don't have to all be this way. So then when in high school, I had to be taught that like, okay, I have to start acting more feminine. And I already associated femininity with weakness. I was like, I don't want to be that way. I don't want to be acting like all the other girls that I saw when they're acting weak and like, oh, like, I can't do that because, I feel like I had to be like them. Like, oh, you had to have your nails done. You had to have your hair done. You had to look put together all the time. Oh, now you have to start, when you go to certain events, you have to start wearing dresses. You have to start wearing skirts. You can't wear pants because only men wear pants. This and that, blah, blah. And it just like, it made me so, like there was all of a sudden so many rules and regulations to being a woman. I'm like, where did this come from? It felt like I had to prove to others that I wanted to be a woman. And I'm like, why do I have to do that? Why do I have to wear a dress to prove to men that I want to be a woman or that I am a woman? Like, I'm not understanding. And then I would always ask questions every now and then, like, why do I have to do that? Why do I have to do this? Like, why do I have to wear dresses all the time? Why do I have to wear skirts all the time? Why do I have to have a purse? Like, I didn't really have like a pocketbook. Like, I did have one like a few like growing up, but like I didn't really start wearing pocketbooks like a normal bag until like 21 when my mom bought me one for my birthday. And she was like, here, now you can actually like wear a purse. Like, and I was just like, okay. But like, the purse is nice though. Like, don't get me wrong. The purse is nice. I do like the purse. But it was just like, I didn't really start being okay with being feminine until like a few months ago, if I'm being completely honest. And I'm 23. I didn't like the way how femininity was being shown to me and all the rules and regulations that femininity came with. And it felt like men could do whatever they want, but the women, we had to be put together, but yet the men could like look wild and crazy. And I'm like, that's not fair. Like, I'm not saying I want to look wild and crazy, but it's just like, why do I have to put myself together? Why do I have to cover myself up so that way men won't lust over me when they're the ones that have the eyes and they could just look away? Like, why do I have to cover myself up so that way I can save you from being lustful when it's like, it was just weird to me. I didn't like it. So then I grew up resenting being feminine, and I would just wear the clothes that I had to wear or like be feminine because I had to. Like, it wasn't like, okay, this is how you get older. Like, when you get older, you're going to do more things that are feminine because you are a woman. And this is just something that's in your nature to do. It wasn't, I didn't see it that way. I saw it as, you have to do this to prove to people that you want to be a woman. And you have to do this because this is what society says a woman does. So now you have to do it. And I was just like, but what if I don't want to do that? And then it's like, if you don't want to be the stereotypical feminine, if you don't want to be feminine, all of a sudden, I was like, oh, so if you're not feminine, then what are you trying to be then? Are you trying to be a boy? Does that mean something else? And it's just like, not all the time does me not want to wear a dress mean that I'm trying to be like a boy. Like, maybe I just want to be comfortable. An example of me like resisting femininity was me wearing like baggy clothes, because growing up I did dress like my dad, but like with girl clothes. Like, basically whatever he would wear, I would wear, but with girl clothes. Like, I remember there's a picture of me and my dad, and we were going to movies to watch something. I think we was watching a Spider-Man movie, and it was me. It was a picture of me and my dad, but it was me and both my parents were going to movies, but we were both wearing a cap, like a hat, and then a sweater with a sweater vest, and then some jeans and sneakers. But basically, like, we wore the same outfit. It was the same style, but just he had guy clothes and I had girl clothes on. So that's how I was like growing up. But occasionally I would dress more like my dad because that's just how he would want me to dress. And I had no problem with dressing that way. And I actually felt more comfortable dressing like that than when I had to get older and like certain times when I had to dress feminine. I was like, I don't like this, because it was a combination of two things. One, is a more darker route, which I won't get into. But another is because the clothes that men's clothing is more comfortable. It's just flat and simple as that. It's more comfortable with men's clothing because men's clothing are designed to be baggy and loose. Like, yes, like men can have skinny jeans and tight clothes, but like women's clothing is designed to show our bodies. Like, it's crazy how women will get slut shamed for like exposing ourselves, and how wearing a crop top and wearing spaghetti strap shirts in like 90-degree weather to avoid a heat stroke is like sinful, and like, oh, we're trying to have boys lust over us, and wearing leggings is a bad thing. But yeah, our clothes are designed to show our bodies. Like, when you wear like, there's a lot of times during the summer where I'll wear clothes, like I'm a medium/large, so it's like most times I'm a medium, but if the company runs small, I'll have to wear a large. So like, I would mostly wear mediums, but sometimes I'll wear a large. But if I wear a medium shirt, my stomach would show a little bit, and I would not like that, and I feel very insecure. So I would wear either a large, or I would just wear like a baggy shirt to cover my stomach, so I won't even have to worry about my stomach showing because it's not visible. But if I wear a shirt that is a woman's medium, it shows that I have a little gut, which there's nothing wrong with having a gut, but it was an insecurity of mine, so I didn't feel comfortable wearing a shirt that exposes an insecurity of mine. So I would either wear a size up or just wear men's clothing because it's more baggy. So my motive behind wearing baggy clothes wasn't because I'm trying to be like a different gender. It was just more, I'm trying to dress comfortably, but also I'm hiding an insecurity of mine. But with the comfortability of men's clothing, like men's clothing, they always have pockets. Their pockets are not a centimeter deep because they actually have real pockets. You know how rare it is? You know, when a woman has a dress that has pockets, or like whenever we find clothes that have deep pockets, we are flabbergasted and so excited about it because we don't have pockets. And the reason I saw some people saying that like it's a conspiracy that like the reason why women's pockets aren't deep is that we can buy purses, which I fully like do believe, because why is it that we are the only ones that had to wear purses? If we had deep pockets, we wouldn't need a bag. That's the thing. But like, men can have 3 feet deep pockets and fit everyone and their mother's luggage in their pockets, so they don't have to carry a purse. Because God forbid a man wants to wear a bag, now all of a sudden they're gay. Like, it's just whatever. But it's just like interesting that like women, we have to wear purses because we don't have deep enough pockets to fit our phone in. And it's just like, if you want to wear a purse, that's fine. But it's just like, it's kind of sometimes felt like a necessity because our pockets can't fit anything that we want to bring. And it was just annoying. So I noticed that about clothes. And I know in college, I think in high school, I did like dress my style most of the time, like when it came to school. But when it came to like other things, like if I was going to church, or just like if I had to dress like for like an event or something, I had to dress more feminine in the sense of wearing dresses and skirts. And I grew up hating dresses and skirts. I grew up hating them because of the connotation that I had with it mentally, in the sense of like, I have to wear this because I can't wear anything else. And it felt restricting, and not in the sense of like, oh, I'm wearing it just because I want to wear a dress. No, I'm wearing it just because I have no other choice but to wear this dress, or I have no other choice but to wear this skirt. So then also with dresses and skirts, you had to be the whole thing of like being put together. Like, I don't like having my thighs rub against each other, causing me to chafe or sweat. Like, especially during the summer, like I can't, like, it's so uncomfortable. And then you have to walk so close together. Like, I don't have the skinniest thighs in the world, so they're going to rub off on each other. So the fact that I'm wearing a dress where that's going to happen all the time is kind of annoying and uncomfortable. But I had to do that because I'm a woman. And it's just like, I didn't like that. And then during the winter time, you still had to wear a dress and a skirt. I'm like, bro, my legs are freezing. My legs going to turn into icicles if I don't have, like, why can't I wear pants? Like, please. Also, because I have long legs, a lot of dresses and skirts didn't fit me like the perfect length of what they should, to be conservative in the sense of like making sure they're not above my knees, or making sure that they're not exposing too much of me. Like, it was difficult. And then I had to wear like pencil skirts because they were the only skirts long enough to fit my legs. And it was just like finding dresses that were my style and also long enough was so hard in high school, like so hard. So I had to wear dresses. Like every now and then I had a dress I did like, but most of the clothes I had, I didn't like them because they weren't my style, but they were the length that I had to wear. So it was like a combination of wearing something I usually don't wear, on top of it being more conservative to fit the occasion that I was going to. It just overall felt uncomfortable, and I did not feel confident in my outfits. And I realized my fashion sense that dictates how I feel. Like if I'm wearing an outfit that I don't like, it makes me not feel confident in myself, and it kind of, in a sense, it kind of ruins my day. Like if I'm dressing bummy, it's either because I want to feel comfortable or I'm feeling lazy, so I just don't care about how I dress. But if I want to look put together and look nice, and I'm wearing an outfit I don't like, I'm not gonna like feel comfortable in my skin until I take that outfit off. I'm like ripping, I want to rip it apart. So that's how I felt really all of high school whenever I had to dress more feminine. And yeah, so it was just like sometimes I felt like even if I wanted to wear like pants or a jumpsuit, like like I couldn't. So it kind of sucked in that aspect, that like certain events that like I was like, I can't ask for anything else but a dress. Like I know I had to wear a dress because it'll either cause an argument or people will look at me differently in the sense of like, oh, what are you trying to do? And like I'm trying to be comfortable and trying to like what I'm wearing. But like because I'm a woman, I had to like just conform to what society says about me. And then it's just like I didn't like it. But then in college, when I was on my own, like living on my own, well, living on campus, I was kind of like testing the waters with my fashion, like dressing in different ways. And I kind of, in a way, went back to how I used to dress in like as a child. I kind of was looking more towards the, in a way, like unisex like attire, in a sense of like where it's like I'm wearing this as a woman, but I can like also men dress like this. And I also called myself, I realized that like I was also dressing like the boys or like the men that I was attracted to. Like I saw TikTok somewhere about like, oh, you can't keep dressing like the men you're attracted to. And it's like I would see guys like wear outfits and I'm like, okay, you're attractive, but also I like your outfit. I'm like, I don't know if I want to date you or wear your outfit. Sometimes it's both, but I'm just like, I would see outfits that like men would wear sometimes. I'm like, I would like that, but like on me and like girl clothes. And then also I would often see how like, because I was kind of in the sense of like with my career, like, okay, I probably would be a professor. So I feel like professors, they dress more like in a sense, like kind of like lawyers where they dress like, and like a suit or like, dress up like business pants. I was kind of like trying to figure out what my fashion sense was, because the older you get, your fashion changes and you realize like how you used to dress is not how you want to dress anymore. So I was changing my outfit, changing my attire, and I decided to just not care about femininity because I was just like, I also was growing to resent femininity, like I said earlier. So I was more dressing like, I didn't want to wear dresses at all. I didn't want to wear skirts at all. Like, I think when I went to college, I think I got rid of all my skirts and dresses. Not my dresses, but I got rid of all my skirts because, well, one, I was still growing. So like eventually I would have grown out of all the skirts that I have, so they wouldn't have fit me anyway. But I donated like basically all of them because I really despised wearing skirts. Like it was the point where I despised it so much. I was like, I don't want it in my closet, in my drawers. I don't want it in my room. I don't want it here to be an option for me to force myself to wear. Like I don't want them. I'd rather not have them than have them. So I donated all my skirts. So then there was a time when still to this day, I don't have any skirts still, but I do have dresses. But I basically was just like, I got rid of all my skirts because I didn't want to wear any of them. And then I was dressing just like more casual in the sense of like, if I can't wear pants, I'm not going outside. And if I wanted to wear a dress, like they were during the summer, I had like 2 dresses that I did like. And I liked them because they fit my body well. And also it was because I actually wanted to wear them. And then I didn't feel forced to wear those dresses. Like I wore them because it was something I actually wanted to wear on myself. Like I chose to wear this dress, so I felt more comfortable. So like I still have those dresses now. I don't know if they fit. I think they do fit, but I don't know. But anyway, but then from college, I would say from like 18 to like 21, I would say I was like basically like trying to like at college, I was basically wearing what I wanted, trying to figure out my fashion. And then when I would come home with what, depending on where I was going, I would still wear dresses and still be like annoyed with them, but like I would just wear them because I'm like, okay, whatever. And then it was like, I would say 21 is when I started to basically like, and a location where I would wear dress and skirts a lot would be church, because it's tradition for women to wear skirts and dresses and then men to wear suits and all that stuff. But now I think we're seeing an age where it's becoming more normal to wear casual outfits to church, because they're like, okay, like, yes, you can wear your Sunday best, but some people are just like, well, what if my Sunday best is a nice casual outfit? Like, what if my Sunday best is a nice outfit that I would wear to school? but now I can't wear that because I'm going to church. When it's like, where in the Bible does it say I can't wear this outfit to church? You know what I mean? So a lot of people are starting to realize that you can dress casual to church. And in a sense of, what I mean by casual is like, you can wear like jeans and a shirt to church. People were starting to normalize that at church. And I was starting to see that, and I was like, okay, so I'm not the only one that's bugging out and thinking that, like, well, I wasn't thinking of casual. It was just, I just didn't like the fact that I only could wear dresses and skirts. Like, I was like, why can't I wear pants? Especially during the summer, I'm like, okay, fine. It's too hot to wear pants. I'll wear dresses during the summer. Like, that's fine. But during the winter, I'm like, the winter, I need to have options. I need to have the choice of wearing pants. So it wasn't until I was 21 that I really started to just, I think 20 or 21, that I was like, okay, I'm going to start wearing pants to church because I'm sick and tired of, first of all, borderline having frostbite on my legs every single time. But also, I want to be I want to be able to be comfortable when I'm supposed to be worshiping God. Like, I don't feel comfortable in my own skin while I'm at church, and that shouldn't be a thing. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start like going outside of the social norm of femininity and wearing pants to church. And it took some time for me to like start getting, like, being able to go with pants. So like I would like wear a jumpsuit, then I wear a dress. Like I was like basically trickling into it. And at one point I was just basically just straight wearing pants for like a month. And now I'm at a point where like I'll wear a dress because I want to wear a dress, not because I have to wear, like it's the only option I have. It's because I want to wear. Like right this past summer, like this past month, I wore like nothing but dresses to church. And like at first it felt weird to me because I felt like I'm being too feminine. I have to stop. But it's like, no, like I did feel that like, oh, I'm being too feminine. Like this is weird. But like, it's not bad because I'm like, well, I want to wear a dress. Like I actually want to look like this. So like, it's okay, you know? Because before, whenever I was too feminine, I felt extremely uncomfortable and repulsed by it because of my connotation with femininity, but also just with the sense of like how it's like the idea that I had to wear this to prove to people what my gender is. And I'm like, why am I proving it to people? First of all, it felt like I had to people please, or like I had to like care about what other people thought of me. And I'm like, why am I supposed to care about what other people think about me when the only person's opinion I should care about is God's? Like it was weird to me. So I was starting to be like, you know what? God knows my intentions when I wear this outfit. So I'm not going to care anymore about what other people say. And it took some time for me to fully like not care anymore. Like, yeah, when people make some comments about me, like, you know, it does, depending on who it is or depending on how it's being done, it can still get to me sometimes, but it doesn't affect me as much as it did when I was like younger. Like if I was younger and I heard someone talking about me behind my back, I would probably cry myself to sleep for the next week. But now it makes me uncomfortable, but I'm like, okay, I'll just leave the situation. Like, I think there was a recent event, like a few months ago, where like I had these 2 piercings, and on top of that, I have 10 tattoos. So with people seeing me before I had tattoos and piercings, and then them seeing me now, I do see that like it could be in my head, but I don't think so, because I think some people definitely see me differently, not in a good way. And you know, like, but you know what? It's whatever. At the end of the day, it's whatever. So I don't care anymore. I'm caring less about it now because I'm like, I like how I look. And if you don't like it, it's fine because it's probably just not for you. But I'm not going to let you dictate how I look just because in your personal opinion, you wouldn't do it. So that's also just like my concept with femininity. And it just like, I just always saw like femininity as like people being weak, women being weak. And because, you know, ever since like the dawn of time, men have always been like, women weren't even citizens. Like the only people that were citizens were white rich men, because women have the biology to where they're too emotional and they can't make decisions properly. So we couldn't be human. We couldn't be citizens. And then, of course, if you're black, you're not even a person, you're property. So, you know, that's fun. And it was just like, for the longest time, women have been always having to fight for equality and just basic human rights in the sense of like, hey, I want to have the right to vote. Hey, I want to have the right to have a job. Hey, I want to have the right to get paid equally to you. Because like, why is it that we're having the same job, but yeah, I'm getting paid 70 cents to your every dollar just because I have a vagina? That makes no sense to me, and I think it's wild. And for the longest time, people have always like, society has always, and by society, honestly, it's just men. Because society have, since the beginning of time, has been men's ideas and opinions about everyone, especially white rich men. And then it became white men, and then it became men, because even POC men have a down, like for some reason they think that they have the right to control women and walk all over us because for some reason they think that God made us out of a toe bone instead of the rib. Like, and it's crazy. And also with femininity, with being submissive, if I'm being honest, oh my gosh, my ankle. The thought of the fact that when I have a husband, I had to be submissive to him, it makes me want to stay single for the rest of my life because of the way how society has shown submissiveness in the sense of like when it says, oh, you have to submit to your husband. So that means I get to tell you whatever I want because I'm the head of the household. And it's just like, no. The reason why you're the head of the household is because you're meant to take care of everyone in that household. Like when you file your taxes and you file as head of the household, you're showing the IRS that you use your money to take care of everyone else in your household. That's why you're the head, because you're the head person of being in charge of taking care of others. So when someone is submissive to you, they're submissive to you because you're meant to take care of them. But for some reason, men saw submissive and was like, oh, submissive, so I get to be in charge. Like, you're in charge of taking care of someone, not in charge of bossing them around and just like us blindly following you. Like, oh, yes. Like, oh, like, no. So for the longest time, it's because of submissive, my default mode is to be grossed out. Because another thing of like being submissive, I think, now I don't know if this is a submissive thing or if it's just a people thing that we invented of like when you get married, you take on the husband's last name. I have a problem with that. Why? Because my last name is Cash and I actually like my last name now. Growing up, I liked it, but then I grew to be annoyed by it. Not because I thought it was an embarrassing last name, but because you have the last name Cash and dear God Almighty, everyone thinks they're a comedian. Oh, Cash mean money. Oh, you work at a bank. Oh, you must have other money then. Oh, everyone thinks they're a comedian. And I'm like, you have said the same joke that 10 people have said to me 3 years before. Like, you are not funny. Like, at first it was funny when like the joke, when they were brand new jokes. I'm like, okay, that's funny. But then everyone was saying the same joke. And I'm like, okay, y'all got nothing good to say. Like, y'all, like, just call me by my name, by my first name only. That's it. And for some, and of course, well, not of course, but the only 2 teachers that would refuse to call me by my first name were 2 men. My 6th grade math teacher and my gym teacher in high school. My 6th grade math teacher I didn't like him because he refused to call me by my first name. I was like, oh, my name's Ananda. He's like, oh, your last name is Cash. I'm gonna call you Cash. I'm like, I would prefer if you call me by my first name. He's like, nah, I'm gonna call you Cash. And I'm like, okay. And then my gym teacher, like that man, I've heard that man call me by my first name 3 times. And I was in that school for 4 years. At one point, I just got annoyed with it. I was like, you know, whatever. So like he would always call me by my last name. And then there was one time he called me by my first name. And I was like, oh, so you do know my first name. You're just being a douchebag and not saying it. But whatever. I mean, I didn't like my gym teacher for like 3 years because I was... I held a grudge against him. I did. But my senior year of high school, I had to give credit where it's due. He did hold it down my senior year. I'm not going to say what he did for me, but he held it down. So I was like, all right, we cool now. But yeah, so basically, it felt like if you weren't that way, if you weren't wanting to get your nails done all the time, wanting to make sure your hair is done all the time, wanting to make sure you're put together, then you're not a woman. And it's like, okay, but if you claim that me being a woman means that I have the female anatomy, why am I all of a sudden not a woman because I don't want to get my nails done? That's weird. And then why is a man no longer a man just because they want to get their nails done? That's weird. Like, oh, you're painting your nails, you must be gay. It's like, no, maybe they just want to do their nails done. Like, maybe they just want to have, it's like, it's only acceptable if they get clear. Oh, if you have clear nail polish, that's okay. But if you want to paint your nails, that's weird. Oh, you're trying to be, it's just like, if you as a man do not feel comfortable painting your nails, don't paint your nails. But if you see a man painting their nails, recently, a lot of Gen Z, like men and boys, have been like seeing like the painting nails and like, oh, I want to paint my nails because I think it's cool. Like, you know, let's fight. Let's go against the society gender norms of like, oh, men can't paint their nails, men can't cry. Like, no, I can cry, or men can't wear paint. A lot of the reason why men are the way they are is because they were told that they can be that way. The reason why a lot of people have like, oh, I'm not gonna get into that. No, I am gonna get into that. A lot of reasons why either men are absent fathers or they're angry fathers or they're like other like father figures, like bad father figures, is because they were told by society that it's okay for them to act that way. Now, not all men, but a lot. A lot of people grew up with an absent father, an angry father, or an abusive father. Very rarely do you hear people growing up with a father, like just in general. And it's because society has told them that, oh, well, if a man wants to abuse a woman, men will be men, boys will be boys. Oh, if a man is lusting over a bunch of women, oh, they're a womanizer. Oh, they're a player. Oh, but then when a girl does the exact same things the men is doing, oh, they're a slut. They're a whore. They're this. They're that. Like, Now, there are situations where if a woman does something, it's okay, but when a man does it, it's wrong. Sometimes it is double standard and it goes both ways, but a majority of the time, it's like a woman does something and they're senile, but when a man does it, it's like, hurrah, it's okay. And it's just like, it's weird to me that like women had to like, we had to be the mature ones. Like, oh, women are naturally more mature. Are we naturally more mature? Or were we just told we had to be mature so that we can help the man? And it's just like, oh, like women are more in tune with their emotions and like we get smarter, better. That's why we had to date older men, because the older they are, the more likely they are to be mature. And it's like, okay, but is that really like genetically, scientifically, or just like, is that really a thing? Or are we just saying that because we've allowed men to like, if they're angry, to not get their anger situated, or like if they're absent father, that like to be in their kids' lives and be an active father, or like, and sometimes with men it's like they'll be financially supporting their kids, but then they're not emotionally there for their kid. It's like, oh, like I pay for everything, so it should be fine. Like, okay, but like you gotta also be emotionally supportive to your kid too. And the same thing with women too. There are a lot of times when women are, you know, financially being supportive to their kids, but then they're not emotionally there for their kid. But a lot of times it's more with men than with women. That's why I'm saying men. So it's just like women have to take on all these things, and it's just like, huh? Like what? Why are we having to do that? Because society said men can get away with all this stuff. Like a woman can't wear spaghetti strap shirts because a man will lust over us. So we had to make sure we wear a shirt to make sure they don't lust over us. When it's just like, okay, but they could also just look away. Like I remember I saw on social media, there was this one time where it was like a mother of like a college boy student was like writing an email to the school saying you should ban girls from wearing leggings and spaghetti strap shirts because it's so distracting for my son to be going to school when all he sees is that all around campus. And it's just like, or your son could just look away. Because I think there's a scripture somewhere where Jesus was like, oh, if you're being lustful and you can't, like, you know, just gouge your eyes out so that way you won't be lustful anymore. And like Jesus was basically showing that like if you are being lustful, it is your responsibility to make sure you are not lusting over those other people. Like, Jesus never said it was the woman's responsibility to make sure a man isn't lustful. But yet, for some reason, society has told us that it is our responsibility. And you want to know why? Because the people that originated what society says and doesn't say is men. Men were the ones that created the Declaration of Independence and all these other laws of government. It wasn't like women just had to abide by it and just follow it blindly because we didn't have a choice, because we didn't have a voice. So it's just like, that's why we've always had to just be like, okay, yes, master, whatever you say, boss, like, you know? And it's just like, I didn't like that. And I think a lot of Gen Z and also like other women are just like, let us not be that way anymore. Like, I want to be able to show that, like, yes, you know, I'll have a husband, but it's just like, I'm not going to let you just walk all over me. Like, and I think that's another thing is it's like also like a lot of people, like sometimes when a woman shows their worth, they can be intimidating, or like when a woman is more assertive or as assertive as a man would, it's intimidating and like, oh, okay. Like, can't mess with you. Because a lot of times women are just petite and just and dainty. And here's the thing. There's also nothing wrong with being that way. Like, if you as a woman or as a girl are more dainty and like to be feminine, there is nothing wrong with that. And for a minute, I did, because of my resentment towards it, because of how it was introduced to me and how I saw it in society's eyes, I resented being that way. And if there was any time when I wanted to be that way, I was like shooing it off like, no, I can't be that way. I had to, because with the way how femininity was introduced to me, I kind of saw it as like, oh, I'm doing this to prove to people that I want to be a woman. So now I was being the complete opposite, being more masculine to prove to people that I'm being more masculine, but I'm still a woman. I'm still feminine because I'm a woman. Like, I still see myself as a woman, but I'm just being more masculine just because I feel more comfortable that way. But that doesn't mean that I don't like being a woman. I still like being a woman, but I'm going to show you that there are other types of women out there in the world. And for the longest time, I was rejecting my femininity to prove a point. So it was like, it was a juxtaposition where it was like, I didn't like the fact that femininity was to prove a point, and I was proving a point by being the complete opposite. So it was a catch-22 where it was like, I realized that I was rejecting my femininity because I wanted to prove to others that I can dress this way that's borderline masculine or unisex, but still identify as a woman, still feel confident being a woman, and still portray myself as a woman. So I was like, oh, okay, so how about I stop trying to prove myself to people and just be me? be me the way how God sees me and the way how God is telling me to be. So I will dress feminine when I want to dress feminine. I will be masculine in the sense of my attire when I feel more comfortable. Like if I want to wear baggy clothes, I'll wear baggy clothes. Now, it's like I said, it was for a long time to hide insecurity I had, but also because I was also more comfortable wearing the clothes. And it could be I felt more comfortable wearing them because it hid insecurity, but also sometimes I don't want to wear tight clothes. Sometimes I want to wear a baggy t-shirt or a big graphic tee just to vibe in. As like, basically, instead of wearing a nightgown, I would wear a big t-shirt that looks like a nightgown. That would be my nightgown, just a big graphic tee. And it's just like, that's just what I wanted to wear. Because sometimes you just want to like let loose and not care. So that's also why. So yeah. So this was kind of just like basically a stream of consciousness video essay. I hope it made sense. I know a lot of women like agree with me because like now recently I have now come to terms with it is okay to be feminine. It is okay for me to, if I want to wear a dress, like, oh, I want to wear a dress, I can just wear the dress. I'm being more okay with being comfortable being feminine. Like I'll wear a dress or I'll wear a skirt. Or I don't have any skirts. I'm gonna get some skirts probably like soon, but I wanna like, basically I'm still working with my fashion, like with the summer and then with the winter and the fall and stuff like that. I'm still trying to figure out my fashion sense, but I'm kind of got it more down. Like during the fall, I'm gonna be basically dressing more like dark academia, like professor/lawyer type, like business slacks, like basically like having like business slacks, but dressing it down with like a casual like a t-shirt or like a crop top or whatever the case may be. Like dressing like that, that's more of my style recently. And it might change when I get older. Like maybe I'll become like, fully immersed in dresses and skirts even during the winter. Like who knows? Like my fashion is subject to change. Like it's not going to be set in stone for the rest of my life. For the longest time, I felt like one of the things I couldn't like change was my fashion because of me being a female has to wear this. And it's just like, okay, how about I just wear this? Like, I know I'm a woman, so let me just wear what I want to wear. And that's appropriate for each occasion, like, For the longest time, the reason, like, it was a combination of it being, like, backlash whenever I did try to dress how I felt comfortable, because I would get backlash about it. And it made me feel very bad about myself and just also insecure about myself. So I would just conform to what society says because I'm like, let me conform to what society says so that way I won't be getting in trouble or, like, so that way I can avoid an argument or so that way I can avoid, like, comments said about me to make other people comfortable. But by making other people comfortable, I was making myself uncomfortable and hating my own skin. And it was like I don't want to do that anymore. I want to just be me. And God knows who I am. So why do I care what other people care about me? So I'm like basically like just dressing however I want. And I'm not going to be dressing like however I want in the sense of like, well, I don't know. But all I know is that I am 23 years old, finally being comfortable in my own skin, slowly and surely, and just dressing how I want to dress. And like, if you think I'm trying to be a man, whatever, I don't care. And again, I'm not trying to bash anyone. Like, if you are using clothes to show the gender that you're trying to identify as, I'm not trying to bash you or anything because I know Christians do that a lot. This is not that video essay for that. So I'm like, I'm like putting my hands up to surrender. Like, this is not what that video is about. So yeah. That's my little intake about femininity. And I mean, I guess I would just say, like, to conclude my thoughts on it, if you as a woman like to dress dainty and feminine and wear dresses and skirts, if you think that you should wear a dress and skirt to church or whatever the case may be, you do that. If you as a woman don't feel that comfortable in dressing in like dresses and skirts and you feel more comfortable wearing pants or you feel more comfortable wearing looser clothing, then wear your clothing. Like, as long as you know who you are or who God created you to be, wear what you want. That's just that. So that's my conclusion. And don't judge other people. If you see a woman dressing more masculine and you're like, oh, you're trying to be one of those people. And it's just like, just keep it common to yourself. Because first of all, you're being judgmental. And it's just like, why are you judging someone for being themselves? I don't understand. Like, it's kind of weird. Now, I do know one thing is that, like, if you're like a parent trying to like raise a kid, especially when you're trying to raise, like if you're a Christian raising a daughter, you want to make sure you raise them to be a godly woman. And then the same with a son, raise them to be a godly man. Like, how do you raise your kid to be a balance of feminine and masculine, whatever the case may be? I feel like if you are focused on like, oh, my daughter has to be feminine, I honestly don't have a solution on how to raise a kid because obviously I don't have kids, I would just say like, just let your kid do whatever they want, but just like, if your kid is like, let's say you're a girl, you're raising a daughter and your daughter wants to be into sports. Don't be like, oh no, you can't play sports. You can't play that sport because it's too masculine. Oh, that's what boys play. Or like, if your kid wants to play in the mud, and then the boy could play them up, but the girl can't. Like, oh, you can't do that. That's only for boys. It's like, why? Or like if your daughter wants to play with army like soldiers, oh no, you can't play with it. That's a boy toy. Or if your son wants to play with a Barbie doll, oh, what are you doing? You're trying to be a girl. And it's just like, also like if you see your like child like being in the sense of like they're born as one gender, but you see them showing signs of trying to identify as the other, have a conversation with that kid, because like you never know why a kid's doing something. Like you could think that it's because they're trying to be the opposite gender, but in reality, it could just be because they just wanted to do that. Like just because a kid wants to wear nail polish, it doesn't mean that that means that they're gay. Like sometimes it does, but most time, like not all the time, doesn't mean that way. So it's just like, I feel like a lot of people, they're like kind of, some people are just scared. They're like, oh, my kid's showing signs of being like in the same gender. And like for some people that freaks them out. And I just think it's like weird in my personal opinion. I mean, obviously, like in that aspect, I don't know that much because like I said, I'm not a parent, so I don't know. I'm just giving my opinion based off like what I've seen in like in media, but also like some semi in person. Well, not really in person, more in media. But I just feel like we should just not let kids do whatever they want, but just like like if you're a Christian, if you see your child doing something that you think is different or weird, ask God about it. Be like, okay, God, show me what this means, because maybe I'm just like, maybe there's nothing to do with this, but if there's something going on, let me know and let me guide me to figure out how to do it. I would say the best case scenario, just ask God. Like if you think this means something, ask God about it. And I know I saw this this Christian, her name is Jackie Hill. And she was like having people ask her questions, and one of the people that was asking her like, oh, my daughter like told me that she's gay and like I'm freaking out. And then the girl was like, she was like, oh, like the fact that she opened up to you about that, first of all, is a big accomplishment, because that's something that a lot of people can't do, because that's a very vulnerable thing for people to do, to open up about. And then just have a conversation with your daughter about like her sexuality, but also talk to God about what to do. And it's just like the same applies to like either they're questioning their identity. They just talk to them about it, but also ask God what to do. Because if you just bash them for it, it makes them feel like uncomfortable, and it makes them feel like they can't trust you with information that you want them to trust you with. But also like just because your child or like a person is showing like they're not meeting the quota of what a woman should be because of what society said, not what God said. And it's different when it's like God said this. It's like a lot of the times the gender construct of like what a woman should be or what a man should be is what society said, not what God said. So it's like it's based off of an opinion. Now, if you feel like this is what a woman should behave, that's your opinion. That's not based off scripture. That's your personal opinion. But don't bash me because I don't agree with it, or don't bash someone else because they don't agree with it. That's where I've been noticing a lot. Especially in like when you see TV shows and like movies about it, it's just like people are getting mad at you for not agreeing with their opinion. But it's like society, i.e. men, have said that this is what a woman should be, this is what a man should be. And we just agree with it, mostly because in the beginning we didn't have a choice. But now we're having a choice to say, okay, yeah, I do like being that way. Not because a man said, because I agree with them in the sense of like, I like being this way. But if there's another girl next to me that doesn't like getting her nails done 24/7 and that likes to be natural, that likes to like, if you want to wear makeup, then wear makeup. If you don't want to wear makeup, then don't wear makeup. Like, oh, you would look better. Like it kills me when men are like, oh, I could just, with a swipe, I can wipe off your makeup. Well, first of all, that's what makeup is. If you wipe it off with like cleanser, or if you touch me, obviously the makeup's gonna wipe off. But then for you to say that, oh, like you're too caked up, but then it's like you want women to look good, but yet we're too caked up. Like, pick a struggle. Y'all make me sick. A lot of what has to do with femininity is what men have said about females, and just sometimes when I look at what men do, I'm like, I'm tired of y'all. Like, I'm tired. Y'all are tiring. Not all. This is a generalization. There are good men out there, and a lot of the good men, they already have a girlfriend or a wife. And I'm like, you know what? You got a good one. Congratulations. Do they have a brother? Like, whatever. Anyway, but, sometimes I get tired of y'all. Sometimes I do. And sometimes I get tired of women when they're like acting toxic in the sense of like they agree with the toxicity of what some men say. Like, oh yeah, a woman should be that way. And it's like, okay, that's your personal opinion, but don't make me agree with it. Like, cause I don't. But anyway, that's my opinion about femininity, and that's my relationship with it. That's my current thoughts about it. And if you leave it down in the comments down below if you agree with me, and if you don't agree with me, you can also leave a comment. We can have a civil conversation about like feminine and like gender traits. And the reason why I've been also talking about this now, this is a topic I've been wanting to talk about for a long time, but I'm currently taking a gender and text class, and it's like heavily about feminism and femininity. And a lot of people like look down upon feminists, like, oh, you're a feminist. Oh, like you're trying to like to where like it drives me crazy when like people are like, oh, you're trying to make it to where like women can't be women anymore. Like, oh, everything has to be so gender neutral. Like, God forbid I'm saying like you can dress unisex. God forbid. Oh my gosh. Like y'all are tiring. Like, feminism is about fighting for women to be seen as an equal and not a step stool. Like, I would like to have the right to have a job. I would like to have the right to be paid the same amount that you get paid. Because like I said, why am I getting paid 70 cents to your dollar based on my vagina? That makes no sense to me. Solely because I have boobs and a vagina, I get paid less than you. I'm doing the same job. We're doing the same exact thing. We have the same exact title. We work the same amount of hours. But because I have different body parts than you, you get paid more money. That is ridiculous. And other aspects too of just because of the female anatomy, we had to fight and struggle more. For what? Like, it makes no sense to me. And that's what feminism, in my opinion, I would say I'm a feminist because I would fight for women to have rights. Like, hey, yeah, I do believe that women should have, and it's also like the sole purpose of fighting for equality in the sense of like we should not have to struggle harder and more than a man does. Like, it's weird. Anyway, so that was just my thoughts about femininity and feminism, and the reason why I'm talking about it because of my gender text class. Yeah. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you guys found something to take from this. Leave a comment down below if you agree, and if you disagree, you can leave a civil comment, because if you leave a hateful comment or a sexist comment, you will be blocked. I love the block button. It's free and it's useful. So leave a comment down below if you agree or disagree. Have a civil conversation in the comments down below. And if you like this video, please make sure to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You just hit the subscribe button down below. If it's red, that means you're not subscribed, so just hit the red button and it'll be great to show you are subscribed. If you want to also be notified every time I make a video, you can just hit the bell button right next to the subscribe button. If it has the little lines around it, that means you are notified. You'll be notified every time I make a video. And if you want to follow me on my other social medias, my TikTok and Instagram, I just add another cash. My Twitter is joyful_cash. And I also have a podcast. It's just Random Chats with Anna on Spotify, Anchor, and Apple Podcasts, and other platforms as well. You can also follow the podcast Instagram, just at Random Chats with Anna. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Oh, I'm going to start posting the audio versions of the video essays on my podcast. So if you want to listen to the audio, you can on my podcast as well. If you want to watch the video, then you can watch the video obviously on YouTube. So yeah, so I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.